So, here we are, Sycraia upper level, the lower AP version of the Abyssal region, an area that used to be known for having good experience rates and decent enough money per hour to be actually recommendable. That's no longer the case since the Valencia rework, but hey, for the fun of it, the patch says this area got buffed recently, so I said let's come back here, grind a couple of hours and see how it performs after the changes. If I take a look at my old spreadsheet with the results I got at this point almost 2 years ago on April 2020, this area used to be worth with today's prices about 110 million silver per hour with about, let's say, 14,000 trash per hour clearing speed on a blue loot scroll, and I did get one Tungrad ring drop in about 8 hours. This was before the Caphra Stone patch, so bad Caphra drop rate, and only about 5 BMCs in 8 hours. Just for the sake of reference, this was my gear 2 years ago. I believe I was one-shotting the monsters at that time as well, but if we fast forward to present day, nowadays I play Corsair Succession as my main class with this gear on the screen, and for this area in particular, no other tagged class to feature. I have full tier 4 pets, so my loot should be pretty much maxed out, and let's take a look at how my 5 hours actually went. At the first glance, nothing really changed. This is a rotation I used in the background. It's pretty much the only one you could actually grind, and it's, as you expected, deserted. Nobody really grinds here. Throughout my 5 hours, I can tell you, aside from the rare item drops, everything else is exactly the same. I'm still one-shotting the monsters, the trash loot here is still garbage, and I guess the only notable things are I did drop 1 black shard, I dropped 3 red shards in my 5 hours, which I would say it's a bit RNG carried. I don't think that's normal. Maybe 1 red shard in 5 hours is normal, and 1 secret song if you actually need those. In terms of special mechanics, this area has a boss that can spawn sometimes. I don't know exactly how it's triggered. I believe it's pretty much RNG chance. I got one in my first hour, and there happened to be someone else nearby who was actually hunting for this boss, so I did it myself. It's pretty much a waste of time. From my experience, I spent like 5 minutes trying to kill it, because you first have to kill the ads, the minions around it, then the boss starts to take damage. You can't really kill it in just one attempt, so after the boss gets up, the minions respawn, you have to kill the minions again. It's basically a big chore, and the results at the end in terms of drop rate are very underwhelming, so overall it feels like a huge waste of time. Throughout my 5 hours I did see this boss spawn 2 more times, but I just completely ignored it. Honestly, the only reason why anyone would grind here nowadays is so you can get the deep sea fragments to go into the Abyssal Sycraia. Nevertheless, at the end of my 5 hours, as always, I stored all of my loot in the bank with the many deep sea fragments that drop here in the bank, because otherwise I had no other space. So let's take a look at Excel and the results. Long story short, about 214 million silver on a blue loot scroll, around 330 on a yellow loot scroll, and let's say about 250, 260 on Blue Plus Agris is what you should expect with today's prices after the Caphra Stone patch and basically after all of the changes. Pretty underwhelming, isn't it? It's actually less than Valencia. I spent my first 2 hours here testing Agris Efficiency on Blue Plus Agris. It's around 33,000 trash per hour. The first hour was slower because I wasted time on that boss. The third and fourth hours on a yellow loot scroll to see if you wanna see the trash results, and the last hour on blue loot scroll to see that loot scroll scaling. It's about 40%, similar to how Orc Camp works. In terms of Caphras, I wouldn't even say it's consistent. The first 3 hours seemed to be around 25, but on the last 2 hours I got around 15, so either it ranges a lot or just weird RNG. It averaged at 20 Caphras per hour, which is basically what you should expect in Valencia. Black magic crystals, still an abysmally low value, not even 1 of them per hour. Blackstones also kind of inexistent, not even 50 of them per hour. And the last one, abyssal essences to make those frenzy elixirs, about 15 of them average per hour. Basically half of what you should expect from the Abyssal Sycraia, the higher AP area. Now, as I said earlier, 3 red shards in 5 hours is pretty much RNG carried in my opinion, so if you expect only 1 red shard, in 5 hours, your money per hour looks like this, and let's say 2 red shards in 5 hours, this would be your result. Nevertheless, I will just leave it at 3 because that's my actual result, but it's still worse than Valencia, so I just cannot recommend this place. The last point is Agris Efficiency. As I said, I had 2 hours to test it, and this is the average result. 45,000 points per hour is what you should expect to use, which in on itself sounds good, but with the trash being so cheap, it's basically poop efficiency. 57,000, as you know, this number, the lower it is, the better. I will show you the Valencia results so you can compare, just don't. Agris Efficiency here is garbage. So, in conclusion, Sycraia upper level is good on paper. If you look at the rare item drop rate, it's actually not bad, but the trash loot is just simply outdated. This area could be really recommendable if only they would rework the trash loot just like they did for Valencia. I'm sure someday that's gonna happen, but until then, it's just simply not worth your time. I'm sorry for all of you who need deep sea fragments to go into the Abyssal Sycraia. I know they are sold out on EU market, but well, nobody's gonna grind for them. So yeah, catch you next time with a different area. Have a nice rest of your day. As always, stay happy. I don't know what else to say, honestly. It's just disappointing. Yeah, bye-bye.